Sind wir online? Sehr gut. Can we start? Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back at the second panel of the Czech-German Innovation Festival. This year, in a form that is pretty cozy, like familiar, smaller than ever. But we are happy to have you here through the online channel. We have 4 speakers here who will show us their projects devoted to the future of mobility, who will tell us more about their research or companies which are dealing exactly with this topic. So join us with your questions during the discussion or during the presentations, and let's jump in. So I will ask my colleagues whose presentation is the first one, so then we will see who can start.
And
yes, of course, I'm sorry. At first, we should also introduce the speakers by their names. So, Helena, please start.
yes, a warm welcome to Mr. Wagner from Škoda Transportation.
We are having Mr. Tomáš from SmartPlan, who is also cooperating with the Czech Technical University in Prague.
Mr. Bažant from Devinn, a company that develops H2 different technologies, and he's going to talk about that. I shouldn't.
That's the first one. Yeah, we see already.
Yeah.
And Mr. Guerreiro Augusto, who is from the Technical University here in Berlin, dealing with smart systems, also with artificial intelligence applied in the transportation system here in Berlin. So great to have you here for a second time, one more. And let's jump in. Let's start with Mr. Bažant and with the project Devinn is developing.
Hello. So very warm welcome to all of us, either online or either in place.
If you wish, you can even stand up, walk, and the floor is yours as you wish.
Thank you. So my name is Bažant. I'm coming from company Devinn. We are a Czech company. We are pure developers. We have started our cooperation in automotive industry together with our biggest customer, which is Škoda Auto. And by, I would say, a small coincidence, we have jumped directly into the topic of hydrogen projects. We think, or we are sure, I would even say, that hydrogen is a future, that hydrogen makes a lot of answers to many different questions, although we do not think that hydrogen is an answer for everything. Therefore, we think in a near future, hydrogen will exist together with electricity, together with battery, together with other systems or ways of energy. And what you can see right now here behind me is our product we have developed and what we are producing. It's called H2 Base, and it's a hydrogen-based electric generator. Meaning, in very easy words, we would like to introduce to the world the technology which can let's say, be additional to the common used diesel aggregates. This was our first project. Actually, this project is already 2 years old. And based on our experience with the fuel cells, with the implementation of fuel cells, and with the, I would say, even hydrogen management itself, we have started many other different projects. One of them, maybe we will talk about also in following minutes, is the project together with Tatra Trucks and with Veřeš. So we are developing the hydrogen truck, 8x8, 50-ton, very heavy truck, being powered purely by hydrogen. And this is one of the examples. And on another slide, I would like to show you the last point from my presentation, and this is our system, Karen, we have developed. This is very easily said. This is phone application. As we think every single user of the car or any way of transport has got his mobile phone. His mobile phone is always connected either to the internet, has the position, also the cars has the position inside them. And this is just the way how to find out the possibility to charge or to charge the electricity to the car, or to tank the hydrogen directly into the hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. Meaning, and this is last slide, we have developed or have in development a very nice portfolio of hydrogen-based products, hydrogen-based charging system for the electric vehicles, starting really from the smallest one, which I would say is RoboBot. Here you can see it. This is a semi-autonomous charging system for parking places, for municipalities, for the cities. Coming to another mobile charger, which is H2Bot, which is a charging system implemented directly into the car. This car can be anywhere on the world, and in very few minutes can be delivering the energy to the end customer 50 kilometers far away from its original position. Then our product H2Base, I have already talked about. Again, a great possibility for municipalities to test the hydrogen technology to make the electricity supply for Weihnachtsmärkten or any other possibility where the diesel aggregates actually are being used. And last but not least are our H2 Max systems. These are again the same systems, only with let's say bigger amount of hydrogen, bigger amount of energy in, and yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. So that means we will talk a lot about hydrogen later. What's the next presentation? Let's see all of them.
It's going to be a surprise. I suppose it should be Škoda Transportation?
Yes, we have.
Yeah. And
so, Škoda Transportation.
Hello, my name is Walter Wagner of Skoda Transportation here in Germany. I'm placed near Cologne. Our headquarters of Skoda Transportation are in Pilsen, and I'm the only manufacturer here, it seems. So I just want to give you a little background on Skoda Transportation itself, and just a short overview of our product portfolio, because I think everything you're said here will be more or less introduced to our vehicles in the near future. So for me, it's really interesting how the discussions have been developing here during the course of the day. So let's see what we can do. Let's go. This is from this year. I go through just briefly through our history, and there are 3 important dates, or 4 important dates. 1869, Skoda has been founded in Pilsen by Emil Skoda. 1927, we have been building the first e-locomotive. So we are only into electric. We cannot do fossils. We cannot do diesel. We are into electrics. So in 1990, there was a big change. Skoda has been formed into a shareholders company, going to the stock market, and then in 2017 or 2018, PPF took over, which is really important because until then there was a lot of lingering. We didn't know where to go with our company, with the strategy in our company, and in order to develop a strategy, we needed money. And PPF with Mr. Helena came in and said, Skoda is a Czech company, and I want to keep it Czech. So that's what he did, and in 2018 there was a huge fundamental change within the strategy of the company. We were going really into tramways, into metro systems. With the buses we had a big development. We got new companies in. Transtech in Finland for the tramways. We got Skoda Electric. We got Skoda Digital. So the company has a real wide range of companies who are either senior partners in a relationship to other companies or junior partners. So besides the vehicles, now components are also very interesting for us. So here you can see it. Rolling stock, Skoda Transportation, Skoda Transtech, Skoda Wagner, where we build our passenger trains, and the locomotive, Skoda Ecova, also electrics, Wagonmash, again, wagons, and in Sinara, that's in Russia, that's our joint venture in Russia, Skoda Electric, Skoda City Service, which is Pilsen, where we do the complete service and maintenance for the fleet in Pilsen, which is really interesting. And it's also an interesting matter because LCC costs, energy consumption, this is right now a real issue in tenders here in West Germany, for example. And finally, those are the Skoda sisters and subsidies in different countries. Interesting, Skoda Digital is also a part. They're sitting in Prague, and they're also supporting us with everything around the vehicle. Oops, wrong direction. No, my fault. There it is again. This shows again our product portfolio. As I told you a little bit earlier, we all in all have right now around about 7,100 employees. And our goal is to have a turnover of 4 billion by 2025. Right now we are in the range of 800 million to 1 billion. Here's our product portfolio. We have first our railway vehicles, then the public transportation, where we have the buses. In here, in this case, the O buses, the CNG buses, hydrogen, battery buses. We're doing everything right now. We just delivered this year 14 units to Prague, e-buses, together with our new partner, new joint venture, Temsa. So this is also right now a huge development going on within the company. The product portfolio is much wider. And really below, we have the traction drives, or the motor drives, and traction and converters, which have been built by Skoda Electric. So this is here components, junior partner. Here we are partly junior partner, also senior partner, and in the upper level, we are teaming up with the likes of Siemens for projects in Czech, in Germany, but also with Bombardier and also with CRRC. So here you see our product portfolio. Just to mention some certain aspects of our product portfolio, within the tramways you have all kinds of different units and all kinds of different operation modes. So in the past, we are going with the units which have all with a bogie. Then they have now the multi-lankers. And in the future, there will be also a combination of both of them and hybrid units. With the buses, you see basically the whole movement from O buses, where we delivered first and where we are still the biggest supplier worldwide of the units, of the traction units and the converters for the O buses, to CNG and hydrogen in the future. So there is a lot to talk about. As I said, it's very interesting to listen to everybody here. For us, there is a lot of things we have to incorporate what you are saying here, you know. And the demand is very high from the transportation companies. And this is also part of our strategy, because in the past, we were a middle European company. We were locally very strong. We were very strong in the southeast of Europe, but we are now trying to move bit by bit to Western Europe. And now we have a lot of tenders here in Germany going on, where the demand is very high. And Germany sets, for example, the standard for the trams. So if you are selling a tram in Germany, you are in a good position to have a good tram for the Netherlands and for other states. France, keep out France. It's a little bit different subject there, but in any other case, it's very interesting right now. And we have to think about energy consumption. We have to think about moves, drives. We have to think about LCC costs. Those are the really driving issues right now for the operating companies. But on top of that, autonomous driving, driver assistance systems are extremely important. So I just wanted to give you a short overview. The most interesting is probably most coming here from you guys.
An
so
overview
thank you very much.
Of a pretty big company, as you see. Then I would like to ask Mr. Augusto to tell us more about the first panel he's working on at the Technical University here in Berlin.
Sure, thank you very much. Also, thanks again that I can be here with you. And probably the presentation will be shown in a second.
It's coming in a few seconds.
In a few seconds, and I can already start. So I'm working at the Technical University Berlin. We are an institute called DAI, Distributed Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. And we are running several projects. And one I brought with me is called Digitalizing, and that's the one I will introduce you a little bit about, because probably it's the most interesting, and there's a lot of overlaps with our discussions we had previously. So DAI Lab has about 100 researchers, including students, student workers. We are running projects in the field of mobility and health, specifically, also security topics. Very important. You can easily imagine that this is important for autonomous driving, but also for other domains. And we have a lot of different departments, which you can see here. They are named CC, Competence Centers, so this is how we try to structure our work. And to the right side, you see a couple of projects. And the DigiNet PS project, I put it here because there was the previous project, which is on connected and automated driving right in the heart in Berlin, from Brandenburg Gate to the Ernst-Reuter-Platz, which is quite a famous street in Berlin. And so we were trying to digitalize it, and it's completed. So this is done. And now we are going to the next big thing, which is called Be Intelligent. We can just move one forward, and I can quickly introduce you about our targets we have in this project. So we try to structure it into three pillars, four main pillars, and the fourth one is, of course, kind of intertwining in all the others. So one task we have is digitalizing a test track in Berlin. This is, of course, coming from DigiNet PS, but we go forward and have the Kurfürstendamm, which is also a very famous area in Berlin, which will be digitalized. And that means that we will install components such as camera sensors, sensors which measure the air quality in the area, and many more. Another task is to acquire a vehicle fleet. And we can't just look, of course, for cars, as we discussed previously. We need to look for logistic cases, so transporters, specifically the last mile delivery. So we're looking for small transporter vehicles, and we're looking for delivery robots. And last but not least, public transport, which is very important to look into autonomous driving for public transport. So we're actually acquiring a 12-meter bus within this project, which will be operated on this test track. So as you can imagine, when digitalizing infrastructure, digitalizing vehicles, then we get a lot of data. And this data can help us to develop new mobility services. Some of them we can already think about, like vehicle on demand, for instance, which can support car sharing services. So it's not about that I book a car via my smartphone. It can be that I book a car and the car drives to my location and I just enter. So these are different use cases which we can think about. So we can reduce idle times for vehicles. As we know, vehicles are just standing around 23 hours a day. They're not used. They are kind of polluting our public space and so forth. So these are cases we are looking into. So this is a third pillar. We're developing a platform which should allow industry members, other scientists, of course, startups, to use this platform. And last not least, also one aspect which we discussed previously is social participation and social acceptance for technology. So one thing is, of course, to build autonomous vehicles, to make them also economical in some sense. But the other side is, of course, to promote this technology, to explain what it means to be sitting in a car which is driven not by a person. And this is one major pillar which we follow here in our project. So we'll have a lot of events where we invite citizens, politics, so different target groups to participate and to learn more about how a vehicle actually takes a decision and so forth. And I will just show you one more chart, which I have probably here. Yeah. So basically, I would like to show you the approach which we follow in this project, because normally when you hear autonomous driving, then you know there will be a vehicle and probably there are some cameras or some sensors installed, and then the vehicle will perceive its environment and will take some decisions. Our approach is, of course, also that we digitalize the vehicle, but on top of that, we will digitalize the road, and we will split it in different areas, so-called edge areas, and they will receive a computing unit. So every piece of a track will be kind of act intelligently in some sense. So basically, when you imagine that you digitalize vehicles, you digitalize the infrastructure, then you can easily imagine that vehicles can communicate with each other and the infrastructure. And one example would be that the vehicle suddenly can look around the corner because the infrastructure can tell the vehicle, hey, be careful, there's a bicycle on the road, there's an accident or something. And this is specifically appealing in very complex road infrastructures. Of course, outside the city, there are different contexts, but when we look at very complex areas, this is something which can be very interesting. And then, on top of that, of course, you have a vehicle view, you have the roadside, and you have the cloud, where you can analyze data and where you can make some predictions. And this is something which we call a distributed intelligence approach for autonomous driving, which we will promote in the area of Berlin. And I will stop here because there's much more to say, but there's one more interesting presentation to come.
Thank you. I don't know if our presentation went through the emails. Short introduction about the Smart Plan. Smart Plan is a small consultancy company which built 8 years ago, and this is the first company which focused on the implementation smart city concept in the Czech Republic. We started create this strategy materials for the municipality 7 years ago, and our first strategy material for city PSEC was like the lighthouse project in the Czech Republic 7 years ago. Now we are focused from smart city pillars to the first pillars, which mean transportation issues. We are providing many studies, and we have the cooperation, for example, with the ECOVA from your concern, and cooperation with the Diginet PS project. And we are very close to other projects, and we are not a typical consultancy company because our colleagues are involved in many research projects, and together we are working on studies for the concrete clients, especially for the municipalities, and sometimes for the state as well. This is our big advantage because we can short way transfer the knowledge for the academic board to the life. and we advised the municipality how can we use this new technology. And one very useful, for example, is that we develop our own software for the modeling energy consumption when we advise the municipality on which bus line we can use the electric engine or stay there on the typical engines on the fools. It's one example from it. I ask you when it's go. Okay, this is briefly about us, and we are interested in many areas from the energy as well. We set up 2 years ago our department, which is focused on the energy management of the municipality, because there is very close to the transport. Because it's I don't know if it's very known information that over 30% of all energy we spend in the transportation. It's a very huge number, and we will work about it. And if you compare to the other consumption of the energy, for example, households or industry, it's a big issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Janča. Mr. Augusto is the first one who has to leave us. So I ask him at first, and then we will discuss the topic further. But before you go, Mr. Augusto, your work at the Technical University, but at the same time you are presenting projects which are definitely also pretty expensive and maybe also pretty interesting for public sphere and from the private companies who are joining you. Could you maybe from your experience just shortly describe us the environment? What is according to you the best for developing those innovations for public transportation and for getting them as soon as possible to the real world?
Sure. So it's not very easy to answer, of course, because as we discussed initially, technology is important, for sure. But there are, of course, many other dimensions into place, like how to get the cultural development done, how to get the acceptance for such technology. So what we're doing in our context, it's indeed a very large project. We have 12 partners on board, from industry, authority on board. We have us as a research institution as well. So we are already a quite diverse set of people who join and try to push this project forward. So what we need to do is we need to, first of all, try to push this technological progress and the acceptance forward at the same time. So what we do in this case is we are not developing the software, the autonomous driving software which we develop and the vehicles which we develop. It's not that we are just doing it for now 2.5 years and then we just say we're done, get to see what we have done. It's really that we have a continuous process now. We will get the people on board every time when we achieve some results. So basically now we have our first autonomous vehicle delivered. We are developing the first prototype, and then we will invite the people to get on board. And this is our approach now, that we decided to have, of course, a diverse set of partners on board. So we have different perspectives and different interests. For instance, we have public transport providers on board, and they, of course, have a different viewpoint than equipment manufacturer, for instance. And this helps us to get good decisions, I would say, and I believe there are different ways to go, for sure. But I would say getting the different things done at the same time is probably here a good choice.
Okay, great. I know you have to go, so thank you very much once more for joining us for the both panels, and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I would perhaps ask Mr. Bažant if he can confirm this trend, or What do you think is the issue that's actually keeping these technologies from some sort of wider scale use at the moment?
From my point of view, the new technologies, either if it is hydrogen or either if it is battery, which from today's perspective is still a new technology, we are still tending to compare them with the fossil fuels. And fossil fuels are there for 100, 200 years or more. The infrastructure is being built, is paid already many times. And of course, these new technologies, if we are seeing them developed in following 10 years, I would say, in 10 years, we need to make the same work we have been doing for the last 100 years. And this is the biggest issue: how to make it very fast and in a very efficient way.
But do you also cooperate with some universities, or your research is just made on your own as a company?
We are cooperating with Czech universities. We have also in history in one specific project made a cooperation with Dresden University. Therefore, universities are for us very good choice, because they are producing, or they are giving us a very good service and very good support in case of many different projects.
So what we know is the situation when universities work together with startups, with smaller companies which are, let's say, dynamic and having really new ideas and a lot of potential. But in terms of big companies like Skoda Transportation, how does the situation look like at your wonderful city of Pilsen? You have a lot of people working on innovations and on research at your own company, but is there also kind of a connection to the academics?
Yes, we're working very close together with the university in Pilsen, but also with the university in Prague. So there's with regards to those kind of vehicles, there are a lot of scholars around, especially in the Czech Republic, with great knowledge of the different driving systems and so on, and also with regards to design. So therefore, we are really heavy relying also on new ideas coming from those universities or from those groups.
And perhaps sort of to add to that, who drives what product you offer? Like, it's cities that are saying we want this and it should look like that, or it should have this parameters, or is it sort of you offer it?
No, it's a give and go. It should be a give and go. You know, you have to develop ideas also within your company, but I think it's also interesting to get a outsider's view. And with an outsider's view, you get new ideas into it. Especially when they are in more and working in more fields, not only buses, not only trams, but also with cars, you know, with regards to design and development of driving systems, propulsion systems, and so on and so on. I think you need this exchange. Otherwise, you will stand on a certain level or rely on a certain level and not get updated within your company. So you should do that and should enforce it.
And how serious is the challenge, according to you, for companies like Skoda Transportation at the moment? If we take the car makers, so you're in Germany, of course, as well as in the Czech Republic, the investment needed to jump from this old model to the new one, probably mostly now being seen electric car makers, that's the way, is huge. So the amounts of money being invested there are huge.
Yes, it is. But when you go with somebody, for example, you go into the city of Prague and you see the old trams, and then you see the new trams. Some of the 20-year-old trams are all still looking good. You know, for us, it's a very reactionary and conservative industry on the surface. But you have to develop, you know, and you have to make the thing is, the design is, it's cost to design. You know, you need to develop vehicles which have a longer life cycle, who have less energy, and moreover are an event to drive. You know, when you drive a tram today, you know, you need to have everything on demand. You need to have WLAN. You need to have ether systems. So there is a huge development going on outside the vehicle. The trams, if you are say a little bit ironic about it, you would say, oh, the trams, they don't look that much different. But in case they are. It's a complete different vehicle what you have today, what you had 30 years ago. But the problem is, you know, the space is not getting bigger. And we have now to transport more people, so we have to find solutions in order to get those people into a tram which is fun to take, which is fun to be operated by the drivers. So there are a lot of issues at hand, and those guys help us most probably in solving those issues, and we need to move forward on that.
And perhaps, Mr. Janša, as we are, do you think really our cities are getting smarter, or are they smart yet?
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you. A little bit difficult, but when I can go back to the explanation what is smart city approach is, that it's really simple. Many people use the smart city like the buzzword, but this is really simple, that you connect 4 main areas. This is urbanism, this is local development. Second, it's the transport problems, energy, and environment protection. It's the main 4 pillars which are in the focus interest of the smart city. And we connect, when we solve some problem, we will need some in this interdisciplinary approach how solve this problem, because this everything involved on each other. Yeah? And when we are speaking about the smart city concept, these 4 pillars covered by IT umbrella, and we need speaking about cybersecurity for today, because we are crazy about collecting the data, but nobody are thinking about what's happened when the cybercrime will hack your systems. Yeah, what will happen with the autonomous car in this case? Yeah, it's a really serious topic, and we need step by step make help our city smarter, and it's not. We need to return to our sources and solve the problem with a multidisciplinary view. And this is our main approach. We started this 8 years ago, but it's not easy to explain a municipality that local solving the problem will develop other problems. Yeah.
If we take Czech Republic and Germany, and if we say the situation is changing all around the world, do you see somewhere like some kind of advantage we can use to create some kind of new, really innovative products, branches? Both countries are so-called Autoland, so countries where really car-making companies are shaping the world of or shaping the whole industry. This is now changing. The companies do hope that they can still keep their front position by this switch to the electromobility. But where do you see the biggest advantage for Czech Republic, for Germany, where we could compete on the European or even the global market in the best way? We are great in programming also.
In fighting regulations.
In fighting regulations.
I think this is the biggest
Microphone.
Here in Germany, for us, we have basically not a real advantageous policies running, also with regards to industry. So in Germany, there was always the tendency to renew yourself, to find new ways for you. You know, in 1990 we said, no, that will be a bad decade for Germany. 2000 we said it's getting even worse. 2008, but what we found here in Germany and in the industries, we found also new means and ways to develop ourselves and to adapt to the situation. I think this is also this thing is also true for Czech. Adapting to an adverse climate, you know, based on regulations, based also on politics, also on public perception. You know, the auto industry is a driver in Germany, but not everybody is really happy with the car industry or auto industry in Germany. So those are the things which makes us basically go on and gives us some drive for the future, I think.
I think it's absolutely necessary to cooperate, not as this side of border and this side of border, but as soon as we are in European Union, and we have heard this, the point today that maybe for Czech Republic it's good to be across for some electricity, let's say, center. And if we are thinking like that, and I would like to think like that, then we just need to delete the border. And we need to think a little bit in front, because in the end of the day, if we are talking about electricity being produced in Czech Republic and being delivered to Germany, or other way around, I think it's necessary to cooperate.
One simple example: when we are look on the European map, who is the best in the class in the area autonomous cars, is the Germany. It's the number one because legal framework it's issued by May this year, and from January 22, it's officially possible to testing autonomous car on the level 4. And for example, Czech Republic are publishing last Friday only conclusion of the ethical committee from Ministry for Transportation. This is big gap between these states, and our German colleague helped us made our way to success much more easier, because we don't need find our own way, because we need only copy paste your experience in this field, but otherwise we can offer to you other possibility in area of the research, and because on the university level it's many interesting projects to cooperate with. And of course, on the local level and on the municipality level, it's necessary to start in cooperation between the municipality companies, between the municipality management, and when it's question, it's what we can do be better. We need deeper cooperate.
It's interesting, gentlemen, because we can say Germany is the leader in kind of in planning and in creating new regulations, and the Czechs are very well known for trying to avoid regulations and to find their own way. Maybe this kind of cooperation could bring something very special. Should be.
It's a very delicate mix in this respect. Yeah, but as he already said, this has to be between the countries. Not between countries. They should not manage it. We should manage it. The companies should manage it, the people should manage it. So we need to get together with our Czech colleagues, as we do with our Czech colleagues in Pilsen. We rely on their experience, they rely on our experience. So this is, as I said, a give and go. And you need to think out of the box from time to time in order to develop really things. And those two guys are some of those who think out of the box. And this is extremely interesting for us, or for me today, to hear those things, because it gives me some hope that we can generate more out of it and implement and integrate it in our systems step by step. Sometimes we're trying to overdo it, like everybody is doing it, but if we funnel it, it works out very good for the future, I think.
Well, as I was doing research for this event today, I figured out that Berlin was the first place to have trams running in 1881, and Prague was an early adopter 10 years later. So hopefully this adoption period has shortened, and we're gonna sort of catch the train with autonomous vehicles pretty soon. But I was, as the gentleman from Prague were saying, that they're really sort of redeveloping and rethinking the old technologies, trams and trolley buses or O-buses. Do you really see that as a big trend also in Germany? Because I suppose for Berlin, this is also an issue. So do you see this sort of demand in Germany rising in the more traditional systems that suddenly are ecological again?
I don't see trams as an old system. Trolleys, trolley buses, more or less, because trolley buses are not attractive for the public, because the line's going through the middle of the street, and therefore here in Germany only 3 cities have trolley buses. So from the perception, it's not as, it's not modern. The trams, for example, that's a complete different issue, because the trams are now driving public transport in the cities. Not the metro systems, we don't have so many metro systems, and the tram systems, due to a regulation in 2015, they have to renew their fleets, which means they have to renew their infrastructure, so they are the drivers of the public transport in the city. So I think that will be also in the future, in the near future, because it's electric. And keep in mind, trams are the cheapest transport system for a city. You only need to put down your tracks, and the vehicles work for more than 30 years, 35 years. So you get your electricity. So everything is a give and go. You can make it nicer, more beautiful, but that's more expensive. So if we push trams more into the cities, I think the general public transport would be much easier and much more comfortable in the future, because the cities demand everything from you. They want a tram. The tram has to have everything in it. So that will be a drive. So this will be an interesting issue. And above that, it will be buses with inductive charging, drive-by charging, or catenary charging, so whatsoever. There will be also a lot of developments coming out of it. I don't see them as completely battery operated. A lot of cities had their problems. Hamburg has their problems with their buses. Amsterdam had their problems with the BYD buses from China. So only battery buses, I don't think it will be the solution. But hybrid solution, hydrogen solution, cell solution, that will be the issue of the future. Keep it here.
Yeah, can we have a follow-up question when we are back to hydrogen? Could you tell us a bit more about the Tatra hydrogen car? Because this is quite interesting. For Czechs, Tatra is sort of a legendary brand. They make these massive trucks, and the combination with the hydrogen is pretty interesting.
Yeah, so Tatra truck, we have agreed on cooperation together with Czechoslovak group roughly half year ago. I'm quite glad that also Czechoslovak group, as well as other OEMs or producers of the heavy trucks, has made this decision to make the big car running on hydrogen. Hydrogen applications overall has great advantages the bigger the product is. Therefore, electric toothbrush running on hydrogen could work, but is not an ideal. On the other hand, Tatra truck, which allows us to store a lot of hydrogen and where the weight of the system is not so problematic, is way better for us. So we have started. We are right now physically implementing in our garage in Jablonec nad Nisou in Czech Republic. We are right now physically implementing the fuel cell into the 8x8 truck. This is a mining truck. And mid of next year, the first prototype should be working. I'm quite glad that Tatra Truck is also planning to run the serial production later on. Therefore, we will very hopefully see also Czech product running either in army systems, either in mining systems, or wherever Tatra right now is being in the world market.
Okay, gentlemen, and to conclude with, it seems like the technologies are finding their space on the market. We can maybe recall the situation when the question was, okay, the future fuels or the future technologies in the car industry, will it be hydrogen really, or will it be electric powered cars? It seems like this question is, at least for coming decade, solved, but the hydrogen technology is developing pretty quickly in some other areas. So would you agree with this, that it's not this or that technology, it's really like just a new shaping of the market and its segments? And maybe a question connected with this, is there any technology you see in the long term as dominant?
Well, I have to say again, and unfortunately, comparing with fossil fuels, the fossil fuels are really great. They are really great because just imagine the situation that in a canister you are bringing an energy to power the car, running with 5 people, with dog, with luggage, running for 200 kilometers. This is a huge amount of energy concentrated in 10 liters of liquid. This is really great. Unfortunately, it's quite limited. Therefore, we can see that the other alternative technologies are there. It will really depend on how we will take this challenge as mankind, I would even say, and which technologies will be the best ones. I would say, from my own perspective, I would say that they will exist next to each other for at least 10, 20, 30 years. It's absolutely necessary.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wagner.
I'm absolutely with you. I also think that with those three will exist with each other for the next 30 years. I see hydrogen, as you basically also had in your applications. I see hydrogen more for the big, heavy usage. You know, the heavy trains and the heavy vehicles. Especially mining industry and railway industry. There I see hydrogen much more. Also big trucks. Everything else I think is still a free game because we see already also on the countryside in Germany, I saw yesterday a discussion on TV. There was a big discussion with charging stations on the countryside. You know, this will be an issue for us. And the vehicles, you see Audi vehicles, they right now are marketing Daimler, their vehicles. There is no vehicle for 9,000 euros or 8,000 euros. And who is going to pay for it? So there will be, as he said, there will be still diesel, there will be still benzene in the future, And I see there a change for the heavy industries and the heavy vehicles, but not for the light vehicles. So exactly the same.
Yeah, I have to agree with our colleague, because we need to find the balance between all the technology, and this is each technology has its own advantage and disadvantage. And when we are speaking about the hydrogen technology, we are on the beginning, and when we starting with I looking back with the autonomous car 20 years ago, there was nothing, and today this was 20 years ago was the like science fiction. Yeah. Nobody from us didn't imagine that together his smartphone will be managed so many problems. Yeah. And this is only on the area mobile operators. And when we are thinking about the possibility of the transportation and the new technology, we need to be careful to the conclusion what is the best and what will be future, and need right overview and had view on this problem.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for giving us some insights how the future can be shaped, and we're looking forward to see your products in the streets of Czech and German and European cities. And I've heard for the last time in summer you have powered one stage of a festival with this hydrogen car. It was pretty cool. So maybe also at those situations we can meet your products. And if you come to Prague, to Evropská, and you drive from the airport towards the city center, just imagine there is this digital twin somewhere on the computers, and measuring and counting every single your movement, and trying to guess what would be the best to offer for the transportation in the cities. Thank you very much, and best of luck for your next research.
Thank you.
So I think that was it for this year. It was much shorter, much smaller. We are looking forward to hold this event in the normal way. Let's say this was the fifth course of Czech-German Innovation Festival, and we really do hope that we can enjoy it next year with the audience, with more guests, with startups, even with the DJ. I always mention that we had a DJ for every single year. So hopefully the pandemic will soon be over, and we can get back to work on those wonderful projects in the way we like it. Okay, have a great day. Thank you for joining us via internet, and see you.